Hi everyone, it's PK here, and I'm joined by my client Sachin, who's just secured a pretty fantastic property. So Sachin joined the Property Investment Accelerator in I think mid to late January, and we're recording this here right at the start of April. And he's just secured a property in March, something that is positive cash flow. So the purchase price is $411,000. Something that is positive cash flow. So the rental appraisal is around 400 to 420. We're going to test the market at 420 and then see what happens, but that automatically means that it's positive cash flow. It wasn't off market, it was actually on market. But he was able to use some pretty advanced negotiation skills, which we had a couple of conversations over to get the price down to what he finally secured it at. There was actually more than 18 offers on the property. The best thing about this property from my perspective, and I think from Sachin's perspective as well, is of course positive cash flow. Of course it's in a growth area. Those are just, when you look at the data, it's hard not to buy in a growth area. That's just something very important. But this one has subdivision potential as well. So for those of you that are listening that, you might be new, or actually if you're listening and you already have a couple of properties, then even though this is Sachin's first investment property, this is more akin to what if you're watching and you already have a couple of properties, this is the type of property that you should be looking at because it has subdivision potential. So it's more than 700 square meters in the particular zone that it's in. You can cut this up into three lots, put 3 townhouses, make hundreds of thousands of dollars today if he wishes, but it's actually a better idea to let that growth happen. It's really just at the bottom of its growth cycle. In a few years' time, it's going to be worth more than 100,000 or two more anyway. So ride that wave. And then the idea is that if he wants to pull the trigger on the subdivision, he can do so. So yeah, look, overall, I wasn't buying these types of properties, certainly not for my first one. So it's well ahead of where I was in that journey. So yeah, congratulations, Sachin, and well done.
Thanks, PK. Thanks for your help as well.
No problem. So I'm just going to ask Sachin some questions, and hopefully the idea of these calls is, like, let's be honest, it's a bit of a marketing thing for me, but I really want these calls and interviews to add value to you. Like, hopefully you can pick up tips and tricks and hacks so that even if you want to do it yourself, not sign up with me, you can actually be a better property investor. And hopefully it actually gives you inspiration as well. Brand new property investor, has a family. It's not like he's doing this 9 to 5, and has basically bought a better property than anyone can buy by themselves. So maybe Sachin, just if we start from the start, like why did you even decide to lay down a lot of money on the Property Investment Accelerator and sign up with me?
Okay, so actually before, sign up with you, even have a course introduction, what you are actually provide as a, course material. I went through a lot of buyer's agent as well, and there what they create as a strategy session and all those stuff. I went through them, which is actually generally a free of cost by them, which
Yeah,
they show you what do you want with the property investment and where you want to go. But it's fine. Like I learned a lot of things from them, like how the property market investment work. And but initially, like we need to pay for them at least I can say that around $9,000. That's a minimum cost. I found it out in the market, but that's for per property, right? And generally how they work, they provide you list of maybe 2 or 3 properties. They shortlisted according to their criterias and according to our strategy criteria. But at the end, we just need to see and tell whether to go with this property or not. But in order to select that property, whether it's right for us or not, we need to spend time as well for researching the area and ourselves. I can say that instead of going through the buyer's agent. That's what I thought, but not for everyone, because you need to spend time as well for researching the area and property but it's good because you're doing it for yourself, not paying some other person to do that. Because sometimes it may be or maybe not, but generally in legal, property buyers agent are not allowed to, you know, do like they can buy in their favorite areas, like where
Mm,
they have the connections. But while doing this course, I can see like we can go independently in any area in Australia, where I can start making my own connection instead of going through buyer agent. Other thing is like I think while doing the course and applying the methodology, then I found it out even agents are more prefer to directly deal with the clients without having a hop in between as a buyer agent. So if buyer agent make a connection, you can also make a connection. That's I can say that.
yeah, that's a really good point actually, because
Mhm.
I think sometimes people fear doing it themselves because they don't have those connections. But I really want people to connect with this point that even agents often prefer dealing with the average normal person instead of a buyer's agent. It seems counterintuitive, but agents are human beings and they actually want to help people. I don't know if that's what you found, Sachin, but
Yeah, that's what I told. Like I already made some contact as well, and it's a two-way communication. They are helping me. I'm actually talking to them politely and understanding and discussing about the market trends and all those stuff. Yeah, so
yeah.
that's the journey. That's why I opted this course. I can say that clearly. Initially, because I can't see the course, right? What
Mhm.
exactly in it, but at least you need to buy, purchase, and I think that's where the trust come. I thought instead of going through my initial property with buyer's agent, which I need to spend 10 grand, right? So I should opt this course and try it. Yeah.
Sure, sure. And just give us an understanding of I want I know I do a lot of these interviews and I think sometimes people can get in this habit of thinking, oh look, you know, X can do it, Y can do it, Sachin can do it, all of these clients of PK are doing it, but I don't know if I can actually do it.
Mm,
I'm got a wife and kids. I have a busy job. I barely have time to take care of myself. Um,
mm.
like just describe who you are, if you don't mind. What you do for a living, your family situation, just to kind of humanize it. And you're like a normal person, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. I'm actually doing 9 to 5 job, but no kids at the moment.
Yeah,
But still, I have work to do from 9 to 5. And generally, the 9 to 5 is the time where you need to contact the agents and see the properties, right? That's the only time. But I think if you spend and manage your time accordingly, it's feasible.
yeah,
But initially, you feel challenges, right? But it is feasible and you need to manage your time. That's the main thing. But general practice in anything, you need to manage your time.
right.
It's irrespective of if you want to do or achieve yourself. I think that can be easily done by you. Only thing is like I can say that like if you want to do it yourself, that's the only option, right? You need to manage the time. Anything which is need to be done. I think let's go back. Like initially, if you in order to go through the course, you don't need to spend time in 9 to 5. You can spend time any hour in a day whenever you're free, when kids are sleeping, if you have in the night, right? That's what I did. I mostly did the course in the night time, like from 10 to 11 or 11 to 12.
Yeah,
And like it's not like I stretch it and want to finish it one day. I just spread it according to the week mentioned. And once I done the course and I started now, like according to the course, checking the property on the real estate, then talking to the agents and getting the information. But it's very easy because the course has formulated a series of questions which helped us to make that conversation easy.
yeah,
So it mostly like you need to spend, like if you have 5 properties, you need to make 5 calls and get the information and list down somewhere, because initially when I started calling, I was not noting down. It was
mm,
mixing up. That's I think a tip. Like you shouldn't make a note as you're on the call because you will forget. Or after the call, make sure you have noted everything correctly.
Yeah.
So I think it's a time management.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
any work, you need to manage your time correctly.
No, well said. 100%. If you want to achieve anything in life,
Yeah.
you have to be disciplined and
Yeah.
have good organizational habits.
Mm.
So I don't really want to focus on the growth of the suburb too much because it's pretty apparent that that's there. Like the median value of this suburb where Sachin bought was in the low to mid 300s, literally as early as December 2020 or Jan 2021. We're sitting here at the end of March or start of April. Now properties are going, most properties have a four in front of them. So you can see that the growth has been there and will continue to be there according to all the data factors. I mentioned the positive cash flow. So that kind of, people still, I don't know if this was you, Sachin, but like people still, for some reason, I don't know where this comes from, but they still think that you need to make the trade-off between capital growth and positive cash flow. But hopefully me just doing hundreds of these interviews kind of convinces people that you don't need to make that trade-off. But I don't really want to focus on that because I go on about that a lot anyway. Um, you got something that has subdivision potential that will make you even agnostic of growth, agnostic of anything else, it will make you hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you don't mind, Sachin, you were sharing before the SA city plan and the fact that there was a precedent in the same area where another block was cut up and multiple dwellings built. Um, if you don't mind, do you want to just share your screen and just explain how you
Yes.
rationalize to yourself that this was subdividable and just sort of take people through that? Because I know people have this kind of thought in the back of their mind that, yes, I want something subdividable, but like they've not actually accomplished it. You have. So if you don't mind.
Okay. So, like before going forward, like I was not initially selecting a property as a first criteria, like I need a subdivision property. The first criteria is always like positive cash flow, and like that's the main thing I was looking at, and like obviously the budget criteria and growth, capital
Yeah.
growth as well. So then I think like during the chats of different person in the groups, and we found this as the website where we can see the existing properties and their whether subdivision rules are done or not. Like this is a particular area,
Yeah.
like for if you go in any street here, right? So here it shows like what are the subdivision like I can show you the legends here.
Hmm.
So these are the blue is showing like these are the subdivision which are deposited,
Hmm.
and red is like it's in proposal at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can even see like even these new houses are built here,
Hmm.
and this is the like subdivision has happened here deposited. And if you see the proposal, this is a whole house they have proposed for three houses, so it going to be built as a three houses in future.
Yeah.
And you can see like a lot of things happening in the area, and approval are happening. The good thing about the tool is you can measure the approximate length and width to see and compare whether it's matching the requirement. That's one way.
Yeah.
Then other thing is like you can check the area in another tool called Plan Essay, where you can search and do the check the any product address, enter after any address to see what are the rules in the area of minimum frontage and minimum site area is required for subdivision. Definitely, you should call and confirm, but they already, I think South Australia has provided some tools and things to do that, but it's good, nice. I found it. Uh, that's pretty much, I use this to see whether this after, after my conversation with the vendor, I thought maybe let's check this as a, so maybe it's
Mm.
nice to have to see whether how I can utilize negotiation further, like whether it will be fruitful in the future. If vendor is not agreeing on the price, then okay, let's see, let's putting 5 grand now, and in future it maybe give more. Then
Yeah.
I thought that let's go in this way as well. I think that's the way I tackle it.
Cool. And so show that, just to kind of make it tangible, if you don't mind, Sachin, do you want to show that other I think a few streets away from where you
Yep,
bought,
yep.
the
I'll
one
show
that
you that
was.
as well.
And for people who are watching, like obviously you can, if you're clued on,
So
you can probably see which suburb this is. But just FYI, the suburb has already grown by about 100,000 now, so it's probably not the best idea to buy here.
yeah, so I can see like this property is similar the size I bought.
Yeah,
So this guy has like 18-meter frontage and they built three townhouses. So they have created like in a way like this is detached and these are the attached
yeah,
kind of, and you can see it's already built, and that's why it's in deposited and people are living here as well.
yeah,
You, so even if you sell one and keep two both at the back, and you can reduce your mortgage and keep the rental as double your rental as well.
yeah.
That's what I can see is.
And there's a much bigger one across the road. It's still
Yep.
proposed, but that's
Yep.
what we like to see when there's precedent in the area,
Mhm.
on very similar types of dwellings and sites. Then you know that the council will be more agreeable to approve your development approval. I mean, your site is obviously much smaller than this red proposed
Yep.
one, but very similar to the one that's already deposited and done and dusted on the left. So that gives us a lot of confidence that, I mean, we can do it now, but it's better to ride the growth wave and just do it, and make much more money perhaps in 5 years. It's a nice to have, but a pretty good nice to have for
Yeah,
sure.
nice to have. But that's why I kept it like it's a my 5 to 7 year plan, not like immediately within 5 years. I just wanted to at least like get the rental because rental is good. Keep my lower my actually what do you call loan and keep my credibility good from the bank side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's what kind of strikes me, that you valued this property at 410,000 or thereabouts, and
Yeah.
you secured it at 411,000.
Yeah.
Um, so on one hand, you'd say, yeah, look, you haven't bought it under market value. You paid the market valuation, which is fine. It's growing and, is positive cash flow. Um,
Yep.
but the fact is that it has development potential, and so you know actually, if the buyers or potential bidders had realized that it had development potential, then I personally think, and this is the case many times, that according to comparables, it's worth 410 or 411. Really, it's worth more than that, because the true value of the property is how much money you can make from adding value, today. And I think it's not a good idea to develop straight away because you won't be making, like more than 100 or $150,000 straight away. But the fact is that you could be doing that straight away. But so I think in that context, it's not that you bought it under market value, but you've got a pretty fantastic deal.
Yeah, that's what even I thought, and that's what I did it. Like it has the potential. Let's put more and see
Yeah,
how it go.
yeah. Okay, thanks for sharing that, Sachin. Um, and I think the other thing that I want people to take away, like just kind of like a big rock in the jar that you can take away free of cost from this interview, is just the ability to negotiate even after doing the building and pest inspection. So most people think you can only negotiate up until the time you've signed the dotted line, but actually you can negotiate even in the conditional period. And actually you can even do it in the unconditional period. So Sachin, like just, if you don't mind, just walk us through how actually you got this property under contract at, 420, um, but then you managed to get it down to 411 based on the depreciation, like the building and pests. Just try to educate everyone how you got $9,000 off just by asking the question.
Okay, so like initially, when I put the offer, I added a clause as well. That's the main thing because without adding a clause, you can't do it. But sometimes you have to play with the like clause if the market is pretty hot, right? You need to go like South Australia already have a 2 day cooling period, so you can go without any clause and do your all own due diligence and building and pest to see whether you want to go ahead with the property or not.
Yeah,
But I think within 2 days also you can go back and negotiate. and without putting in a clause as well. Do your own, and you just need to be ready with your all building and pest inspector and convincer, and just do that building and pest, get the report, analyze the report, take out the bullet points from the report, and estimate cost about the bullet points, like how much money you need to even fix those issues. Uh, then I think simply talk to the vendor agents, because you're not talking to the vendor or convincer, to share this information with the vendor, and like give them an option to either reduce the price by the amount required to fix those issues,
Yeah.
or just fix those issues straightforward by
Yeah.
some licensed trading, not like going some like hiring some cheap Gumtree labor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I just shared the list of bullet points. I was not like don't be too harsh, like you need to replace this bulb with $100 for the replacing a bulb. That's fine, but that anyway you already have a clause of, all fixtures should be working fine, but
Yeah.
don't negotiate on like minor things and all the stuff. But definitely if you're buying some old properties, definitely there will be, you find things, there may be termite issues, there may be some structural issues. You need to carefully select whether it's too much money to basically to renovate or to maintain the property or
Mm-hmm.
not. And if you think like it's a too much of a structural issue, I think your building and pest inspector will tell you that whether is it good to buy with some maintenance or not.
Yeah.
A good inspector will tell you, and he will also tell you about the amount required to fix those issues.
Yeah.
Just I straightforward shared those issues with the amount, estimated amount, because nobody can tell you the actual amount.
Yeah.
Take some buffer, I can say that, always in the positive side,
Yeah.
and just share with that, and let's the talk going on and negotiate further on that, on top of that. So that's the way I actually reduced from my initial offer from 420 to 411.
Yeah. No, it's a good lesson. Like many people don't even know to do a building and pest inspection, but in real estate, everything is negotiable. Like there is no hard and fast rules. So, if there are some things that come up in your building and pest that aren't major but minor, you can get them estimated, costed up, and go back to the conveyancer and an agent and say, look, you either fix it or reduce the price. And in your case, I think you got $9,000 off, which is definitely higher than the average. So that was a good outcome. And, once again, another tip is just to put a clause in the initial contract to say any, like you mentioned, Sachin, any minor handiwork or maintenance can actually be done within the settlement period. So between when you're unconditional and settlement. And that's then what Sachin will use that $9,000 for. It's more than what he needs, but do a few, downpipe and a few other things, fix them up. And that way you're not increasing your vacancy, because if you can get this done before settlement, then the tenant can move in, hopefully and ideally the day after settlement date. So all these things need to be considered and the right clauses put into the contract and then executed well before the settlement date. That's the busy period, from contract date to settlement. There's a lot that you can add value in the house. So I think, you did really well, Sachin, given it's your first purchase, to actually master all this. And I think like the last question I want to ask, like there are so many people like, that can do property investing themselves. And I always say, look, if you're confident, you know the data, you know how to get deals at a positive cash flow, high growth with value add potential, go do it yourself. That's all good. But there are so many people that don't know how to do it. They're confused by going on podcasts, books, YouTube, all these different, this conflicting advice and agendas. But then at the same time, they don't want to put down, what is not an insignificant sum on a course like mine. Like what would be your advice, having not just done the course, but actually been successful in securing a high value property? What would be your advice to someone who's kind of umming and ahhing and thinking, look, maybe if the course was 2 or 3 thousand, I could stomach that. But this thing is much more expensive. It's taking my deposit money away. I don't know if I'm comfortable with it. What if it doesn't work and then I've just lost all this money? Like, what would be your advice to someone? I don't know if you thought like that as well, but to someone with that kind of mindset.
Well, if frankly speaking, when I thought like I include that price in my first investment property, like so for example, if I'm buying a 400K property, then I'll take I cost it costed me 405, 6, whatever the cost fees is, right? So that's what I thought, and I bought the course. And like even I was reading a lot of articles and all those stuff in different websites and all those stuff. The problem with that is like they are not in a particular manner, or you can say that a course is always in like a particular indexed in a particular journey. It's not like randomly you're searching the property criteria, reading the property criteria first, then analyzing the suburb and all the stuff. I can say like it's properly laid out, and and it's giving you knowledge and perfectly in the particular manner, which give you a more better understanding instead of randomly searching some articles, listening podcasts, and all those stuff. Because
Hmm.
there is not a particular in manner, because it's random, because they're talking any points of any given state.
Yeah.
That's the first point I thought I'll do it. And other thing is I wanted to learn more about property market, property investment market, the terms we use and all the stuff. And the main thing is the negotiation I wanted to learn, because that's the thing where you can grab more things, like and gain more benefits as well. Uh, you can always hire buyer's agent, I can say that, but
Hmm.
instead of if you go want to go with buyer agent, you also paying money there, right?
Yeah.
Here you, if you're even buying one property, you're paying less than the buyer's agent fee, and you can use that knowledge to buy more properties instead of paying every time the buyer's agent fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and I did it because when going with the buyer's agent, it's always you need to make a decision at the end, because buyer's agent will not make. But in order to make your own decision, you need to know some knowledge about the area and how you're gonna feel like buyer's agent is right,
Yeah.
right? By using this course and actually seeing the market is pretty hot as well in that area. Otherwise, I never heard about this suburb which I bought before it. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
what that's the experience I think from the course. I can say that.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that fills you with most confidence, I think, when you follow the data system and then it leads you to a particular suburb and then you see that suburb rise in value in front of your eyes on a weekly basis. All of my clients say that is the thing that gives them the most confidence, not because I've said something, but they're seeing it happen, the data working in front of them.
Yeah,
And of course, then the how, not just the where, but the how to negotiate. You fended off 18 other buyers in a incredibly hot market and didn't overpay, which is a accomplishment in of itself. So yeah, look, I just want to finish by saying, yeah, congratulations, Sachin. And yeah, I think we had probably what is that, 4 or 5 calls or something like that throughout the journey. So the course is good, it's self-explanatory, but you know the confidence really comes from being able to discuss and not just discuss opinion or speculation, but discuss the data. That's kind of where the magic happens.
correct.
um,
That's the main things. I think the calls are the main things as well, to see whether you are going on a correct path or not.
yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, no, fantastic result. Congratulations. And for anyone that's watching, like hopefully we were able to add value, not just a sales thing. You actually got some, golden nuggets out of this interview. And if you did, I'd love it for you to share this. You can share it by posting the link on other people's walls. You can share it just by clicking subscribe, by clicking like or love, and that way more people will be able to see the video in their feeds and just genuinely be benefited. There is no reason to buy positive cash flow by itself. There's no reason to buy growth by itself. There's no reason whatsoever to not buy any of those things, but you can get the combination and then layer strategies, much like Sachin has done quite wonderfully with subdivision. So yeah, I'll probably leave it at that. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything like that, just pop them in the comment section below, and I'll leave a link below as well if you want to find out more about how Sachin achieved everything he did using